Lili Nishmasi Meir Rossi Mordechai. Sponsored by Shlomo Gewurzman. Yortzeit today of my grandmother, Penino Bas Dovber. Also sponsored by Shlomo Gewurzman. Yortzeit today of my great-grandfather, Shlomo Ben Tzvi. So 2 sponsorships from the same person. By Avi Mandelbaum. In honor of my amazingly strong wife, who 1 year ago today donated a kidney and saved her father's life. Unbelievable. I met this woman. I didn't chop. Okay, I would have made a special bracha or something. And science. Thanks for science for making it possible for her to save his life. He had a shtach. The science shtach. I told you I love science, Avi. I love it. I love it. Here's a picture of Morty Tiffenbrunn from Gimel, learning the daf. Parnas HaChodesh, Shia Greenfield, Green Star Electrical Contracting, Yossi Klein from Superior Plumbing, Muncie. And this is an older one from Herzi Hasenfeld, Mayor's uncle, my son-in-law Mayor's uncle. And he writes a whole thing here, a pshat, and he writes at the end, a chassid of yours from day 1 of the 8-minute daf. He's going back a good 2 years. I know you're a grunik, but you can still have chassidim. This is a very interesting email. This one is from Johnny Duffy. Dear Rabbi Stefansky, hope you are well. My name is Johnny Duffy from Wicklow in Ireland. As you can imagine, I'm living in a non-Torah society. My background is Catholic Irish. But Baruch Hashem, the truth has been revealed to me and I want to convert. Kitzer, he goes on to say that there's no Hasidic rabbi in Ireland, but he reads a lot of Chavetz Chaim, Shulchan Aruch, Mesilas Yesharim, Parsha, Rabbi Kanievsky. Bekitzer, he keeps on going, Torah anytime. Please do not think that I'm flattering you, but from all the Daf Yomi teachers, it is you to whom I am warm and most feel a connection to your manner of teaching. Kitzer, one of his brothers told him online, you are the best. Kitzer, he goes on and on and on. He's a barrister with one of those wigs, like in England. Da-da-da-da-da. Kind regards and gebenched, Johnny Duffy. We don't know about these things. P.S. When I eventually become a ger, Be'ezus Hashem, I should take the name Mordechai. All right, very good. Should have a lot of atzlacha. Another ger. What happened to Lev? Lev. Anybody see Lev? I just saw him recently. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol nהיה b'dvaroi. So we are holding, today's Daf Chafei. We were supposed to be holding Daf Chafei, but we must go back because we stopped smack in the middle of a sugya. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. We could say Baal Peh, we could look inside a little bit. 11 lines from the bottom of Marabaya. So we had a sugya where Rabbi Yochanan says that all these surim in the Torah, you only get malchus if you use them in the manner they were designed to be used. You eat food, so you get malchus. If you take the food and put it on a wound, you take the food, you smear it on yourself, you're not chayiv. However, comes Abaye and says that when it comes to klei kerem, if you plant seeds in a vineyard, since the Torah doesn't use the word oichel, so it means even shaloi kederech hana-asay. Okay? So klei kerem is different than everything else. If you use it shaloi kederech hana-asay, you take whatever grows out and you rub it on your body, you're chayiv. So the Gemara asks an amazing question. Think if you were able to come up with such a question. It's only a 6-step question. That's it. We'll review Baal Peh. Very pashut. The steps are very simple, just 6 steps. Goes like this. How could you tell me the klei kerem if you use it shaloi kederech hana-asay you're chayiv? We know basar b'chalav. We're very familiar with basar b'chalav. You can't eat it. How do you know you can't eat it? Doesn't say in the Torah. What? Right. What does that mean? Translate Lo Savashel Gedi. Lo Savashel. Do not cook. Do not cook the milk of a Gedi. But Lo Savashel Gedi. Don't cook the Gedi with its mother's milk. Where does it say you can't eat it or you can't benefit from it? For that you need drashas. You need drasha. So the Gemara says, what's the drasha? We learned it yesterday. Basa b'chalav is asur b'hana because there's a kavachomer from Arla. That's how we know. From Arla. If Arla, you never did an aveira with it, it just grew out of the ground. You didn't do anything. You planted a seed for 3 years. It's asur. So certainly, basa b'chalav that you took one thing and you cooked it with the other, and the Torah says don't cook it, and you did it anyway, you're chayiv. Says the Gemara in step number 2, and let's remember this one, it's an important step to get rid of the kavachomer. You hear, Avi? Step number 2. Our law never had shas kosher. Our law, from the moment it was planted, it was asur for 3 years. Whereas basa v'chalav, 1 minute you could drink a cup of milk, the next minute you made an isser with it. You turned it into an isser. But it had a shas kosher. It was once mutter. Says the Gemara, I'll prove it to you, step 3, from chametz. Chametz had a shas kosher. Right before Pesach, you're allowed to eat donuts. Pesach comes along, you can't. Says the Gemara, look at this. Oh, it does. We can fold it though, right? Just get these steps in. Step 1, 2, 3, we're holding step 4. Chametz is different because chametz has kares. It's very, very strong. It's very chomer. So, what about step 5? Klei HaKerem. This is the point we want, because we're talking about Klei HaKerem here. Klei HaKerem has no kares, and it's still asur. Says the Gemara. So here's step 6. According to you, there is no step 6. You hear what the Gemara is asking? Unbelievable. According to you, there should be a step 6. What's step 6? Klei HaKerem is so strong that you get malchus even shaloi kederech. Maybe this word loy is not good. You get malchus even shaloi kederech. Take this out. Anybody have a pencil? I don't want to start ripping this up. Okay, we might have to take it out. Hold on. This is bad. This was not on purpose for the shtick. Okay, I think so. Don't soon. Menachem is going to say no. It has to say loy. You're like shaloi kederech. So that ruins the kavachomer. According to you, Abaya, that you get malchus if you just take Klei HaKerem and you rub it on your skin, so you can't learn basa v'chala from it. It's a weird thing. Shaloi kederech. And then the Gemara goes on. But think about how would you come up with such a kasha? You got to go through all these steps to get to the kasha. So let's take it from the top, because since we learned it already yesterday, and we just reviewed it Baal Peh, from Daf Amud Aleph. Malar law, it's step 2. Step 2 we're holding. Daf Amud Aleph. Malar Arlo was never mutter. From the moment you planted it to the moment you want to use it, it was never mutter. It's different than bas b'chalav, that you're allowed to drink milk, you're allowed to drink meat, you just now allowed to put them together. Once you put them together, they become awesome. Says the Gemara, so I'm going to pull out step 3. Chametz is going to prove it to me. You're allowed to eat chametz before Pesach, and it's also bana. Don't prove anything. Don't make a kavachomer with chametz from Pesach, because chametz in Pesach is so severe that you get kares. And then we go to, that's step 4, step 5. So Klei HaKerem, we're going to prove it, and that's the connection to our sugya, because we're talking about Klei HaKerem. You plant seeds in a vineyard, any seed, the wheat seeds, vegetable seeds, the Klei HaKerem become asur b'hana, and there's no kares. So you see that kares is not what causes the Isra Hana. Klei HaKerem doesn't have kares, and there's Isra Hana. V'imisa, here's the Gemara's Bam Kasha. And if it's true, Abaya, what you're telling me, that Klei HaKerem, you're chayiv malchus even shaloi kederech hanasai, even not in the intended way that it was designed and planted for. It's so severe, it's so different than chametz, than basar b'chalav. How can you learn basar b'chalav from klei hakerem? It's different. You get a oynesh for taking a piece of wheat, a grape, and going like this on your skin. It's that's severe. So how can I learn basar b'chalav? V'abaya, so no, it's a bam kasha on Abaya. Abaya says, what's the kasha b'chlal? Torah b'mai. Every kavachomer, every pircha, you have to continue the sentence. So what's the sentence here? How could I learn basar b'chalav from klei hakerem? You know, klei hakerem, if you use it shaloi kederech hanasa, you're chayiv. Toimar basar b'chalav, but basar b'chalav is different. Basar b'chalav is not different. Basar b'chalav also, if you use it shaloi kederech hanasa, you'd be chayiv. Why? That's not true. Think about it. We just started off, right, Avi? You, Avi, not that Avi. Different one. Before was you. Avi said, it doesn't say anything about achila. And we said that, why is it that by klei hakerem that if you use it not in its regular manner, you're chayiv? Because it doesn't say the word achila. Guess what? Basar b'chalav doesn't either say achila. So with the same svar, the same logic, say basar b'chalav also. If you don't use it in its designed manner, you're chayiv. So what's the other one's kasha? It's a great. Abai saying givaldi. Why did the Torah not say? Every Jew knows the first thing in Yiddishkeit, basar b'chalav. You keep kosher, basar b'chalav. And the Torah doesn't even say it. The Torah doesn't even say, don't eat basar b'chalav. Where am I learning basar b'chalav? L'hachi gama min avela. Rashi says lav dafka. Doesn't mean avela. We just learned it from treifa. Okay, treifa and avela, same thing. L'hachi gama min avela, man avela derech hana asa, av basar b'chalav derech hana asa. That's exactly why the Torah didn't specify achila, that you learn it from nevela, and nevela you only chayiv, like we said. If you take a nevela, you put it in your mouth, you're chayiv. If you take a nevela and put it on your wound, you're potter. Says Abaya, that's why, the reason why it doesn't say achila by basar b'chalav to teach us fakert. Like I said, the only thing, says Abaya, that you don't get, that you do get malchus. I'm sorry. Klei hakerem you get malchus shaloi kederech hanasai, and so basar b'chalav you get malchus shaloi kederech hanasai. Says the Gemara. Okay, so once we're talking about this giant kavachomer, this back and forth, starting from arla, going from arla to chametz, chametz to klei hakerem. So now we're holding that klei hakerem is what causes basar b'chalav to be asur b'achila. Well, I have another kasha, says the Gemara. Forget about klei hakerem, that it's you chayiv malchus shaloi kederech hanasai, and that we slugged up. What about this? Klei hakerem never had chasa kosher. It's very, very. How can you learn a kavachomer basar b'chalav? Learn halacha. The reason you're not allowed to eat basar b'chalav, it doesn't say in the Torah you're not allowed to eat. It says you're not allowed to cook. The reason I think you're not allowed to eat basar b'chalav is because I learned it from klei hakerem. But klei hakerem is very strong. Klei hakerem was born asur, right? When you plant a tree, from day number one, the tree is asur. Whereas basar b'chalav, you're allowed to drink milk, you're allowed to eat meat. You're just not allowed to put them together. So how can you learn one from the other? The Gemara understands now that the only time klei hakerem is asur, is when it grows. That's the Gemara's havamina. What's the Gemara's answer? That it's asur even before it grows. From here, I see a yisoid. That's sometimes yimuchach. You hear? From the fact that the Gemara learns out basar b'chalav from klei hakerem, I learn a tremendous yisoid. A yisoid that when I plant it, it becomes asur. Forget about the offshoots and the growths. The ikr becomes asur. Hoyel v'hoiselem shasa koisher koidem hashrasha. Even before it takes root, it becomes also. Maser of Shmaya. Is that true? That, huh?
He says one person permissibility before it takes root.
Yeah,
It wasn't
before, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Was mutter.
Correct. V'hoiselem shasa koisher koidem hashrasha. Before. Maser of Shmaya. Hamaver otzitz nokov bekerem. We know the concept of otzitz nokov. You have a perforated pot. Here's just a picture from Shabbos that we learned. Here's a pot, and you have a pretty large hole that a root could come through. So that's considered as if it's planted in the ground. It could take nourishment from the ground through that hole. You're taking this pot through a vineyard. Interesting halacha. Im ha'isif mosayim asur. Unbelievable. You have to sit there with a calculator. I'm not exactly sure how you do it. And think about it. If you have a very large apple, we're not talking about apples, we're talking about wheat. But, so, a large fruit, this large, what's 1/200th of that? It'll take some time to grow. But if your thing is this small, 1/200th might be, I don't know, an hour. I don't know. I'm not a farmer. You could ask them how long it takes to grow. So it could be a question of hours. If it's hanging around in the vineyard for the amount of time that it takes to add 200, what's 200? 200 is the amount of bittul when it comes to klei hakerem. We had the other day by truma, if you have 100 barrels of chulin and 1 barrel of truma falls in, the truma is as if it doesn't exist. It's batal. Over here, the halacha is double. You need 200. 1 in 200. Okay. If it grew while it was traveling over the vineyard, then that fruit becomes asur. Hoisif in, loy hoisif loy. It's mashma, first of all, it's whatever is added becomes asur. Not whatever was there before becomes asur. So what are you telling me? That everything becomes asur. Amarava trei kroik sivi. In the same pasuk, there's 2 words. Here's the pasuk. We had this pasuk yesterday. Lo sizra karmecho kalayim pen tigdash hameleya hazera. Now we're focusing. Yesterday we're focusing on this word and the pen and tizra. Hameleya hazera. Hameleya means whatever grew. Zera means seeds. So it's sort of a contradiction. These words contradict each other. Is it what grows or what you plant? Is it the seed or what grew after you planted the seed? Hakeitzad. How do we reconcile the contradiction? Zeru ami karoi bash rasha. Zeru au ba haisevin loy haisev loy. If you're planting a seed, the pasuk is actually telling you 2 separate halachas. There's a halacha of zera, planting a seed, you need it to take root. When it comes to an existing plant, then there's a halacha of whatever, the new growth. So if it grew more, great, and that part is asur. If not, not. Omer Rabbi Yaakov, Omer Rabbi Yochanan. Fine. Brand new sugya, Rabbi said brand new sugya. Gishmak is sugyas today, by the way. Says Rabbi Yochanan, Bakom Misrapim Chutz Ma'atzei Asherah. You can heal somebody with anything in the world, any product, besides Avodah Zarah tree. No. Bakom Misrapim Chutz Ma'atzei Asherah. You can use klei hakerem, you can use arlo, you can use chametz. Anything goes when it comes to medicine besides Avodah Zarah. Atzei Asherah, a tree from Asherah. Hey Chidami, ask the Gemara the obvious question. If the person is about to die, afilu atzei Asherah nami, you could be Machal Shabbos, you could do Avodah Zarah. V'delekech sakana, and if there's no danger at all, stam, he has a little fever. Afilu kol simshur atoyer nami lois. I could use chametz, I could use arlo, I could use anything. What's the difference between Avodah Zarah and all the other Yisurim? Lo'ilam dikis sakana, of course, there's a sakana. Va'afilu hachi atzei Asherah loy. Says the Gemara, when it comes to the Gimel Chamurais, Avodah Zarah, you cannot heal with Avodah Zarah. Even if the person is going to die without Avodah Zarah. The Sanya Rebbe Lezer Omer, Im nema b'chol nafshecha, loma nema b'chol mo'idecha. We say it every day, at least 3 times, 4 times a day. B'chol nafshecha. You serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with your whole nefesh, your neshama. And then it says, with all your money, with everything you have. If it says with your guf, even if somebody comes to kill you, you have to give up your body for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So of course your money. So what are you going to tell me? That people like money more than their own bodies? So save money. But why do you need both? If there's a person out there that loves his money, his guf, his body, more than his money, there are people, so there's 2 people. There's a person that likes his body more than money, and there's a person who loves money more than his own body. That what? So Rashi learns Pashat that if a person needs a refuah, he's going to die, and the doctors tell him, use this tree, you can't use it. Taisus learns that this is the only tree in the world. This tree has some sort of, it's possessed by a shade, and therefore if he uses it, he might think that the tree has superpowers. And Mamela he can't use it. But otherwise maybe he could use it. If there's other trees like that. It's because this is the only tree. So last time we learned this sugya in Brachas, the obvious question is, which human being loves his money so much that he's willing to give up his body? I mean, once he's dead, he's not going to have money. Doesn't even make sense. So I told you the story about, first of all, there's the famous joke. A guy was driving down the street with his hand out the window, feeling the air, and a truck came and took off his hand. And the first thing he screamed out is, "Oi, my Rolex, my Rolex." Fine. That's the joke. But it's not a joke. Because I told you when we were learning brachas, I had an employee, Tim, 15 years he worked by me. He actually just called me when I was in Chicago to see what's going on, to tell me about his new life in Minnesota. And he told me that he's very, very sick and he needs a serious surgery. So I said, "No, so when are you going to do the surgery?" He says, "Not doing the surgery." He started cursing the doctors. He says, "These doctors, they take way too much money. He's not going to give them the surgery money." I said, "But you're going to die." He says, "I'd rather die than give them the money." So that was last time we learned it. And then yesterday when I was learning it, I was thinking to myself, maybe we're all guilty of this idea, in a way. So let's say technology comes up with a way that I could give you a year of my life. So somebody that's terminally ill comes to somebody else and says, "Listen, I will give you $100,000, give me 1 year of your life." I don't think anybody will give up a life for $100,000. What about $1 million? No. Yet, we work our whole life. Everybody wants $1 million, and we go to the office at 5 o'clock in the morning and come back at 9 o'clock at night. For what? For the $1 million. So in other words, we're trading our time, which you can never get back, our life, for a few bucks. I mean, ultimately, it should be like the Chavetz Chaim. He went to the store, he opened up his farm store, when he got his ruble, he locked the doors and finished. That's it, he went back to learn. But that's not what we do. We go to get that extra buck. We do everything, but on the count of what? Of a count of time, which we can never get back. So in a way, Mamayna is chaviv megufay. Just in a way. It's hara ba'alma.
1929, when the crash came,
Yeah.
tons of people jumped off the buildings and killed themselves.
Right.
They lost their money. So
They
lost their money. That was it. They didn't want to live anymore.
Listen, I mean, what you're saying is a mefurish Gemara, ani chashet kemeis. Losing everything you have is misa. But are you willing to trade this for this? That's the shayla. Okay. They did both. They lost their money and they jumped off the buildings. Zog the Gemara. Ki asa Rav and Omer Rabbi Yochanan bakol misrapim chutz ma'aved zara v'gila arayis. So Ravin says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, you're allowed to be misrapa besides the shleisha chamuros. Aved zara, as we just mentioned, gila arayis, the famous story in Sanhedrin Daf Ayin Hey, where a person went to the doctors, and the doctors told him if he won't be with this woman, and there's a shiloh over there, if she was Eishasish, not Eishasish, They said, the Chacham said, die. Even, she couldn't even talk to her from behind the fence. Why? Shlo Yibnei Yisrael Prutzos, or Begam Mishpacha. Okay, so when it comes to Gilui Arayis, you cannot be merabi yourself. Turning Daf Yomi Amud Beis, guess what? It's Rosh Chodesh today. We're free. There are no sponsors. Weiter. Trust me, I am happy. Official from Official Catering is not happy. This is his idea. He's going to do an Nekama. Watch. A couple of phone calls and we're not accepting from Official. Yes.
Do you think it's time to share with the Olam the new program that's coming out?
I don't know what Klar, so maybe we'll, let's use this time to learn Torah. We finally got a minute that we could go weiter. Unless Noam wants to tell us about the sponsorships today. Yeah. Here he goes. All right. No, I can't. I don't want to remark. I don't want to chas v'shalom be pogeh anybody. Fine. Zok the Gemara. U'shvichas damen. Shvichas damen, look at this, Noam. You could kill a person by embarrassing him in public when you turn the page and you say sponsor, not sponsor. Okay, shvichas damen. There's a reason why it's here. No, somebody wrote me an email that he didn't, he's new to the shir. He said that I have to be like Spiegelman. Remember Lauren? Lauren, it was like, how do you speak like that to Judah? Like, he was here for like 3 days, and he's like, you mevayshim berabim. It's like, no, wait 2 weeks. And now he came to me, he's like, okay, now I chap. So somebody wrote an email, says, you mamish mevaysh, no, I'm berabim. He messed up, and then you called him out on it. I know, I wanted to tell him that. So, Rabbi, whoever you are who wrote me the email, you need to know a little bit. This is nothing. What I did yesterday, I actually was mechayah him. I killed him on Purim. He's dead since Purim. What happened was, I'll explain to you because he's not part of this year. Before Purim, the Olam, they thought I'm such a balgaiva. They'll just show me what they think about me. So I'm such a balgaiva, I would probably want my face plastered on every bus going through Bet Shemesh. So they went and they got me a matana. In all seriousness, they got me a joy in the 8-minute daf and a big giant picture of Eli Stefansky and people are posing next to it. So I was a little embarrassed. So it was out of busha. I went and I got a poster that was how big? 40 feet by 10 feet tall, and I hung it up on my porch. And in it was a picture of Avi Kamiansky and Noam Fix, completely bald, and it said, hair transplant, 1-800-125-7. That was my way of getting them back. So if they weren't mevuyish from that, if I didn't kill him that, but it was only for the day of Purim, I took it off after Purim, still I was mevayish him on Purim. You're not allowed to kill even Rabbi Shochat on Purim. I killed Noam and Avi on Purim, but I found out later that's a tremendous, they take tremendous pride in the fact that they're bald, even if you give them a pill that they will refuse, both of them. So anyway, so it was, actually I gave them COVID, not to whatever. So anyways, if you know that, maybe you won't have a shaila on what I did yesterday. You'll have a shaila on Purim. Shvichas dam avezor. Can we learn now? Okay, we gain nothing out of this. Let's just, you know what? Let's do a sponsorship. Sponsored by Official from Official Catering. Avodah Zarah Adamoron. So you cannot heal yourself with Avodah Zarah. Gila Arayis Shvichas dam desanyo. And how do you know you can't heal yourself from Gila Arayis and murder? In other words, if somebody tells you, I will kill you unless you kill so I'm saving myself, you can't do that. So this is a pasuk about Naira Amorasa. A Naira Amorasa who's being raped, she's engaged. So halachically, she's married. Amorasa in those days, engagement is like marriage. Kikashayakum, says the Torah, she's like, it's similar to a case that somebody comes to kill somebody else, or it's like murder. Says the Gemara, what's the connection between murder and rape? You would think that the Torah is saying that the Naira Marasa is like Ritzicha. No, it's the opposite. Ritzicha, now I'm learning a halacha for Ritzicha. Ritzicha is like Naira Marasa. That what? If this Rasha comes to this married woman and he wants to do a Maisa, you kill him. You could kill him to save her. So too, a murderer. You go ahead and kill him to save your own life. Just like by Ritzicha. If somebody tells you, kill somebody else, I'll kill you, you need to be killed. You can't kill somebody. Taisus is Gurs over here. Look at the top Taisus, the first words. Yehareg val yavar. If somebody forces you to do a oinus, you have to kill yourself. You have to let yourself be killed. Why does Taisus say? Because a woman b'derech klal. There are cases. B'derech klal, a woman is karka oilam. She's not over. She doesn't do anything unless she's doing a ma'isa. Okay. How do we know that you shouldn't kill somebody else? Says the Gemara. Again, a guy, they come over to a guy, a bad guy, Nazi, comes over to the Jew, says, I will kill you this second unless you go and you kill Pliny Almighty. So you have to take the bullet. How do you know that? Svaru, common sense. Kiyahu, the Asal Kamei de Rava, there's a person that came to Rava. Omalei. He told Rava, Mare Duroi, Omarli, the governor of the town told me, Zil Katla de Planya, go kill so-and-so. V'iloi kaltin lulach. And if not, I will kill you. Omarlei, liktulach, v'loi tiktol, you have to be killed and not kill someone else. Why? The famous line. My chazis, the dom didach, sumuk tfei, who said that your blood is redder than your friend? In other words, who says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you more than the other guy? Dilma doma dahu gaber sumuk tfei. Maybe that guy's blood is redder than your blood. You have to see this amazing Rashi inside. Says Rashi, Dibba Maskal, my chazis the doma didach sumuk. I don't know, 15 lines from the top. Just guess it. Koloimar. You're coming to ask me the question because you know that pikuach nefesh is top. No, maybe you have to save your own life, so go ahead and kill another Jew, says Rava to him. Says Rava, this is different. Listen to what, first of all, Rashi says a tremendous thing here. Says Rashi, why am I allowed to be over an Aveira? Because there's two Aveiras. One is losing a Jewish soul, and the other one is eating treif chazer. So anyways, there's going to be something wrong here. So let's eat treif chazer, and we'll save this problem of losing the soul. However, v'kan Aveira nasis v'nefesh avuda. But over here, anyways, you're being over an Aveira, he's doing Ritzicha, and the Jew is going to lose his life. So you didn't gain anything. What did you gain? But Rashi says, but there's two nefashos. There's Reuven and Shimon. So maybe I should take his life and save my life. Says Rashi, amazing. Again, who told you that HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves your soul more than that one? At the end of the day, it comes out that there's an Aveira of Ritzicha, because Ritzicha is an Aveira, plus a lost nefesh, and you might have picked the wrong one. Who told you that HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you more than him? So, I don't know for sure, but I'm looking at it over here, and it seems to me, what if that nefesh is the Rambam? The Rambam versus the guy that talks in middle Chazar Shashatz. Rashi doesn't make any distinction here. Maybe Chazar Shashatz not. We'll pick another Avera. The guy that talks Lashon Hara occasionally. And the Rambam, Rashi says here, Dilma shazeh chaviv, there's no Jew in the world that you could say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves him more than you. Unbelievable. Remember this Rashi. Every Yid is possible, HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you. For HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's worth more that you should be in this world than Moshe Rabbeinu. Because there's no distinction. It doesn't say, if he's a Goladar, then he's allowed to kill the other guy. He's allowed to listen to the guy. It doesn't say that. Every Jew, you have this Yesod. Itmar. And then you have people that are. I'm saying if a guy is a koifer, you can't say, oh, Akash Baruch Hu loves him. If a guy that doesn't do the right thing, doesn't do the right thing.
It actually says,
It's obvious. You want to say, okay, fine. Nafshi Shisor. Itmar. Oh no, I'm sorry. Thank you. Mar Baravashi Ashke Chali Ravin. If I was home now, I would skip these 4 lines, but they would copy. Yeah. So we saved that. Baruch Hashem. Mar Baravashi Ashke Chali Ravino the Shayef Lebrate Buguharke Darla. So Mar Baravashi saw Ravino. Again, Ravina and Ravashi, the ones that wrote the Shas. So you have the son of the author of Shas, together with the author of Shas, Ravina. He noticed that he's rubbing this oil, weird oil. It's from unripened olives. But it was Arla. Arla. You know Arla? Amarle, Eimer Domer Rabbanim B'Shas HaSakana. Shlei B'Shas HaSakana Miyamar. How could you use that? We said, okay, you're allowed to use anything for medicine. But that's because she's about to die. Your daughter's not going to die. By the way, yesterday when I was learning with my chavrusa, so I said, we just learned something like this recently. He's like, no. You're talking about Shabbos Daf Amud Beis. That was when, Mom was like that. He's like, that is when Rav Bibi, in order to remove his daughter's hair, he would rub oil on each part of her body independently. And then the Goyish neighbor saw that, and he was able to sell her, or be Mekadesh for 400 zuz. He got a great price for her. And then the guy did the same exact thing, but he did it in her entire body, and his daughter died. And he would run around the street and say, Rav Bibi killed my daughter, Rav Bibi killed my daughter. So that's what you're talking about? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, fine. Just a guy that knows all Shas like this. This is what you also learned about in Avodah Zarah, that it's a very high fever, type of fever that's very dangerous. Okay, fine. It's not sty, it's like COVID. Very dangerous. I just said that for Tomer Levi, in case he's watching. So I'm not doing it in the normal manner. I'm not drinking the oil. I'm not lighting Hanukkah nairs. I'm rubbing weird, younger olives on her body. That's nothing. You're not over from that. Itmar, what happens if you don't really intend to have this hana, and I think it's a little bit of what Zalman, Yosef's son, was asking me yesterday. He digested something, we'll see in a second. So we have a machloikis here. What happens, and we're going to go into it to understand better what's going on here. In a situation where, so Ruvain Shait made this beautiful drawing for us. So here you have Avodah Zarah. This is on Noam Street, some Avodah Zarah going on. Here's MDY, the base medrash. You're over here with the Gemara. You need to get here. So you could go on this route, you can go this route. This route has a shtickle of Avodah Zarah coming out. A little smell. Huh? No, a good smell. A good smell. Shmaki smell. That's makarcha. You didn't go there to inhale it, but it came in. Are you mechuyev to go this way or not? So this is efshar. You could go another way, or lo efshar means it's longer. Lo efshar doesn't mean it's impossible. Lo efshar means I'm mechuyev to take the long cut. Says the Gemara. Should we just go through this Balpeh for a second? Okay. I don't want to make it complicated. There's two things here. Efshar and mechaven. Do I have intent to enjoy the smell? Do I want it? And then the other thing that we have to contend with is efshar. Could he go in another route? Could he not go in another route? Those two things. Now, the way this chart works is, the check means this is what happened, yes. He's mechaven, yes. He has another route, yes. And what's the outcome? X. Bad news. So one thing is pashut. We're not going to even discuss these first two cases. That's pashut, just to make it very simple. If you have another way to go around, to not smell that Avodah Zarah, and you're mechaven, it's a no-brainer that you're over. Bad. Now, if you don't have another option, and you don't want to smell it, You don't have another option. I need to get to shul, and there's only one street, and I don't have kavana, I don't want to smell it. So there's no question in the world that it's mutter. Okay, in both Lashonas, we're going to see both Lashonas just to confuse ourselves a little bit. So these two cases are a no-brainer. When you have both in both directions, there's no shaila. So where's the shaila is when you split it up. It's not that it's lo yefshar, there's no other way, and mechaven. So according to this, in the beginning of the Gemara, if it's lo yefshar, you don't have another way to go, but you mechaven. So what do you see? Kavana ruins it all. If you mechaven to smell it, I don't care if you have another option now. You want to have anofram of a dezara, no good, no good. It's always, kavana always ruins it. Okay. And where's the machlokes? Machlokes is going to be when you don't have kavana. You don't have kavana, but you have another route. So that the dezara comes into your nose, you didn't want it, it came in. But you have another route. Are you mechuyev to go on the other route? That's machlokes. Abai and Rava. Abai says it's mutter, Rava says asur. So let's see inside. Abai Omar muteres, Rava Omar asura. If it's the top one, no shaila, kuli, al meloi pligid asur, you had kavana and you could go another route, asur. Lo yevshav lo mechaven, that's mamish. So lo yevshar again, what does lo yevshar mean? Not that there's no other way 100%. The other way is 25 seconds longer. That's lo yevshar. It's a tircha, more of a tircha. That's why I'm emphasizing it. Lo yevshar lo mechaven, kuli, al meloi pligid deshari. Listen, I don't have to go out of my way, and I don't want to enjoy the smell. 100% mutter. Ki pligi de efshav lo mechaven. So where's the whole machlokes? When you could go another route. So I was over. It's equal. Here's the picture. You see these two routes? They're mamish equal. I go this way. I could go through Rivin. I go through Rana. But I have zero kavana. I don't want to be over this. That's where I have a machlokes. And what's the machlokes dependent on? Going back to Masechet Shabbos. Dovashin Miskaven. I drag a bench. And by dragging the bench, I'm making a ditch in the ground. But I don't want the ditch in the ground. That's not my kavanah. My kavanah is to get the bench from A to B. But in doing so, I'm over here. I want to go to shul. In doing so, a smell comes into my nose, but I don't want it. I don't want it. Here, same case. Oh, we're not going into psik reisha. Taisa says there's no psik reisha here. Thank you, but we're not going to go into it. Psik reisha means it's 100% going to happen. Then it's even Reb Shimon agrees that it's also. It's not 100% going to happen. Fine. Yeah. Sorry. According to Rabbi Yehuda, who says that if I don't have intent, it's 100% asur. So over here, kuli amalei pligi asur. Then according to everybody, this is a case of isur. Ki pligi aliba de Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon holds that this case is mutter. Domar davashenim skaven mutter. So Abai Reb Shimon, Abai holds it's mutter. Why? Because I don't have kavanah to smell David Zara. Over there, Reb Shimon said it in a case where it's a very heavy bench. If it's a light bench, he's able to lift it up and not drag it. Reb Shimon, according to Rava only, will hold that it's also to drag it. So over here, that he has another route, let him go the other route. Reb Shimon never said he's mutter. Oh, now let's see Ikedarmi. So the first two we don't have to talk about. It's the same. If you have another route and you have bad intentions to smell it, you are over. If you don't have another route and you have zero intention to smell it, you're not over. Where's two machlokes according to this? In a case that it's lo yevshar, you don't have another route, but you have kavana. Over here, Abai is going to say it's mutter, and Rava is going to say it's asur. And in the reverse case, where you have another route, but you have zero kavana, it's going to be machlokes between Reb Yehuda and Reb Shimon in Dovish Miskaven that we just mentioned. So let's see inside. Gershon, we need some air conditioner. I know it's cold outside, but it's mamish hot. Is anybody else hot here? I'm schwitzing away. Hey, look at him. He's sitting there with 3 coats. Do we have anybody? Ooh, 800. All right. Ikedarmi. Efshar v'loy mechaven. Efshar v'loy mechaven. Right over here, the bottom one. Efshar v'loy mechaven. Hainu pluktai de Rabbi Yehuda v'Rabbi Shimon. That's where Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon argue. Loy efshar v'loy mechaven. Kuli ama loy pligi deshari. Ki pligi de loy efshar v'loy mechaven. So right over here is, I'm sorry, did I mess this chart up? Ki pligi de loy efshar. Yeah, de loy efshar. Not possible. But he does have kavana. V'alibi de Reb Shimon does a basar kavana. Reb Shimon always says you have to see what his intent is. Kule amaloi pligi dasra. Because he had kavana. You see, green check, he had kavana, so it's asr. Listen to this. This is almost counterintuitive. Ki pligi alibi de Reb Yehuda. Do amar loishna miskaven loishna shei miskaven efshar asur. Listen to this. Unbelievable. According to Reb Yehuda, efshar, I have the ability to go another route, and I'm not mechaven. What's the halacha? Asur. In other words, there's no distinction between kavana and not kavana, according to Rabbi Yehuda. From here we prove it doesn't matter if you have kavana. What matters is efshar. Efshar is what counts. Says Abaya, therefore, if it's loy efshar, then according to Rabbi Yehuda, it would be mutter. Because there's no distinction between miskaven and lo miskaven, says Abaya. Unbelievable. So, in this case of efshar, where are we? Keep leaking, become a chaven. Keep leaking, the loy efshar, v'loy mechaven. If you can't go another route, says Abaya, according to Rabbi Yehuda, I just proved to you that here in the machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Yehuda says all that counts is efshar. Kavana doesn't matter at all. So in this case, right over here, with loy efshar, Rabbi Yehuda is going to agree that it's mutter. Why? Because all I care about is efshar, loy efshar. There's no distinction between kavana and la kavana. Unbelievable, counterintuitive. Rabbi Yehuda always says it's asur. Over here he's going to say it's mutter because all that counts is efshar. And on that, Rava says an amazing thing. V'loishna miskaven efshar asur. Abaya Rabbi Yehuda. Abaya holds like Rabbi Yehuda, so to speak, because all that counts is efshar, not kavana. V'Rava Amar Lach, just two more words. Ad kan like Rabbi Yehuda shei miskaven ki miskaven elo chumra. Where does Rabbi Yehuda say that kavana, not kavana, is when I want to be machmer on somebody on Shabbos? I say I don't care if he had kavana. He dragged the bench. He's chayiv to make a chumra. Ava miskaven ki shei miskaven lekula loy. But you want to say that because a person, the kavana means nothing right now. All that I care about is efshar, and that's going to turn into a major kula. That means, according to Abaye, that becomes mutter in this case. To say that there's no difference between kavana and not kavana, to make something mutter, who says that Rabbi Yehuda agrees to that? Rabbi Yehuda only uses that svara to make this case of dragging a bench asur, not to make something mutter. Have a wonderful day. Nachman, you're going to do Tehillim or Noam? Nice and slow. Shir ma'alois, mimakim kosich adinoi. Adinoi, shema b'koilit, yinaz lech keshubais dekod achanunoi. Ima v'nois tishmo ya, adinoi miyamoid. Umcha slicha, laman tivorei. Kivisi adinoi kivsan lavshil dvorei cholti. Lavshil adinoi mishemum laboiker, shemum laboiker. Chai Yisrael Adonai Chesed